Hi, I'm Sug.
I'm Dan.
This is the Demystified Zone, an unauthorized North Korean podcast. Hey, what's up, Dan?
Hey, Sug.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Demystified Zone, where we give you all your hot tea on North Korea and things related.
Very hot tea.
What's going on with you, Dan?
Oh, just settling into the summer. My kids are in different programs.
Got a lot of Korean stuff going on this summer.
We do. My kids are in a Korean language program. Two of my older kids are.
Are they in when you say Korean language program,
Yeah.
what does that entail? Does that actually entail them learning how to speak and listen and write Korean?
They're supposed to be. They were in it last year and they loved it, but they didn't retain any of the
Zero.
academic part. They like the social aspect, being around other Koreans.
Yeah. But zero on the language arts.
This is absolutely zero.
Well, some might say maybe that's a burden on the parents at home. How much Korean are you speaking at home, other than curse words and groans?
Next to nothing, man. We don't speak Korean at home. I mean, when I came back from Korea this last time in May, my Korean was so good for me. Like, I was able to, by the end of my trip, like, have conversations with my staff in Korean.
Yeah.
Like, just joking around.
When you're like immersed, right?
Yeah. It just was flowing. It came out. It was still probably really horrible, but at least they could understand me and I could understand them.
Yeah, I understand that.
But it withers away.
The kiddos, though, what are they learning? What are they coming back with? Is it still numbers and ABCs?
Exactly. Yeah, the basics, how to read. They have to relearn how to read, and yeah.
Is it immersive? I feel like if you do an immersive thing, that's just the best way.
Yeah.
If everyone's speaking that and you just are forced to survive, that's the best way to learn.
That is the best way. And hopefully, it's like planting seeds, right?
Yeah.
Where in the future they can like draw from even...
When you hear it, right?
Right.
I'm the worst. I'm the best example of that. I'm at best 15% Korean understanding. When I'm hot, I'm 20%. No, but I get it. I'm the master of context clues, though.
Yeah.
For any language.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a good skill.
It's a very good skill. Like my dream, hopefully that we'll go to Korea for at least a month. I hope next summer. And, Korea is such a safe place for kids. Like some of my friends, they'll go and they'll just give their kids some money and a phone and say, go have fun, ride the subways, go wherever you want. If you know like numbers and if you know how to read a subway map, it's a very commutable city, even for children. That's my dream for
there
them
isn't the
next
high
year.
level of like kidnappings.
No, none of that. Yeah.
Bad uncles, that sort of thing.
Bad uncles.
Yeah.
There's bad uncles everywhere.
No, I know. This is true, but those type of uncles. the ones that prey on everyone's children.
Yeah, I haven't taken a...
It's safe, you're saying.
It's very safe, yeah.
Well, the transportation helps too. Having the subway system that's clean and nice and internet everywhere that's high speed for free.
I mean, they'll literally just go to the 7-Eleven down the block probably and gorge themselves on Korean snacks.
Oh, the snack games are strong in the Asian countries.
As we've seen.
That's what I miss.
Last week.
But that's right. That's right.
Walnuts.
All right. Well, listeners, today we're going to talk about something very... you know what? This is a little old school. This is why I wanted to bring this up. We're a little more old school, Jay notwithstanding here. But maybe Jay remembers. Jay, do you remember having a landline?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You had a landline. You had a home phone number.
Yeah.
Did you use it often?
Yep, all the time.
Okay. When did you get your first cell phone?
I was freshman year.
In high school.
High school.
High school?
Yeah, high
Okay.
school.
When did you get your first cell phone? Well, let me ask this: when did your family get a cell phone first? Because that's how
No,
it.
no. I
You had yours
my
first?
My first cell phone was just paid for by me. That's
Okay.
how old I am.
Yeah.
It was
How old were you when you got
it's
it?
like 2001, so mid 20s.
Just gonna keep it a little ambiguous. Between 20 and 40 years old, somewhere around there.
Something like that.
I was the same. I think I was 22,
Yeah.
and I remember exactly what it was. It was a T-Mobile
T-Mobile, me too.
through Amazon. Amazon had just started to release, and they had this crazy sale, and I got a Nokia, that awesome Nokia brick. That was the best phone ever. I forgot what it's called, the Nokia 4 something.
Yeah.
Ah, it was so good. I would
I
program my
miss-
own ringtones.
I missed the Razor.
The Razor was sweet. I
Yeah.
never had that kind of money, so I was always using Nokias. I would get like the customized like cases though, like when the Matrix came out, I had that little slide open case. Yeah, I was a dork. It was awesome though. Anyway, neither here nor there. We're talking about landlines. Landlines is a whole nother game, and I always remember it fondly. I loved landlines. I'm kind of sad that it's gone actually. It took me a while to come into text, and I love texting now.
Yeah.
But the feeling I had in landlines was like, it's
Well, just
special.
the feeling of one of those things in your hand, right? It just feels more solid. Like these phones are tiny compared to what they were before, right? I
Yeah.
miss that feel, that solid feel.
You want a brick,
Yeah.
like one of these two-handed jams right here.
Sure.
That goes past your chin. It's gonna go way past your chin.
I mean, like if I took my cell phone and put it up to my face, I have a big face. It doesn't reach
You do.
to
It's
my
huge.
mouth. Like those phones were
That's true.
designed for like.
It gets like hot and sweaty, like right here,
Yeah,
right by your sideburns,
yeah.
because it's like sitting
And you
there.
take your phone and there's like a grease stain on.
Or
the
sometimes you
glass.
press buttons with your with the skin on your face.
Exactly.
I actually don't even hold the phone up anymore. I'm always on speakerphone now. I'm always doing this because I just don't like that. You're right. It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel
It's
good.
not designed for the face. It's designed for this, your
Exactly.
thumbs. But the landline was awesome. I love landlines because I just always, it was the excitement of not knowing who's calling. You remember when we didn't have caller ID?
Of course.
That was incredible. Do you remember those days?
Oh
Jay?
yeah.
Caller ID, I felt like was revolutionary. When you could know who was calling, and it was like you didn't want it. You had the power to not pick it up and let it go to the answering machine, which you could delete later
Yeah.
on the tape. That was great.
It was bad for my, calling girls situation, but
Why was that bad?
because they could
Oh,
see,
the dads
they
would
could
find
see
out?
no, they could see that I was calling and not answer, which happened a lot. for
You
me.
were calling
Yeah.
and they were not answering.
Yeah.
Got it. So
They-
you were the
they
one.
caught on to me.
That's why you got to call from a different phone. That's easily rectifiable. You go to your friend's house, you call from there. And then you find out your friend's cheating with your girlfriend. I'm not speaking from a personal experience. I'm just saying, this could happen. This is a scenario.
Sure.
No, I love landline. Well, I had brothers, so I'd constantly be eavesdropping. I was the master at eavesdropping on the phones.
When you could actually cover the receiver and that would do something.
I would go one step further. I would pull out the microphone.
Pull out the microphone.
So it's impossible. And the key though is picking up on the right click. Is
What do you
like
mean?
waiting for if I knew like my brother's quote unquote friend was calling
Yeah.
and I wanted to eavesdrop, it's like waiting for him to pick up and then I'd pick up in my room at the same time and
Right,
just
right,
like sit there. There was our like
Oh, because it makes the click.
it makes a click. You can tell if someone's on the other line. You could always tell. If you're really
And
good, you could tell.
You could tell if they were using their palm.
Yes,
because
that's
you
why.
you could hear the skin go.
Or if you don't have a tight seal, they can still hear like the ambient
Right,
noise.
the
There's just
ambient-
something off, when you just know when someone
You
else
have
on
to
the line.
use more of your senses back then.
We were heightened people. We were like superhuman. We knew everything. We had like this sixth sense. We just knew.
Yeah, you'd be talking and you'd be like, "Hey, who's on the line with me? Get off!"
Hey, you know what? To my brother's credit, even when I did stuff like that, he still knew. But maybe it's because I had committed the crime in the fence so many times. He just knew. Like, it would always be terrible because, like, I'd be sitting there and I'd be like doing something. I just like have the phone, and just listening. It's like my radio. It's like my radio hotline, just listening to whatever crap they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then he'll like bust into my room and like, hey, what the fuck? I'm like, ah. It was like that. I don't know what happened.
I had an older sister, so the snooping was even more titillating.
Did she catch you though?
She'd do it all the time, catch me all the time.
But what would she do to you? What was your...
I just run away from her. Yeah.
Would she physically harm you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She would just like slap you
Pull
up.
my
She wouldn't do some
hair,
like
scratch me.
psychological mind games.
Oh,
to
that
you,
too, yeah.
Mess you up.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about having brothers. They just beat the crap out of you, or did stuff. You know what? The Homer Bart Simpson choke. I got that a lot.
Yeah.
A little shaking. A lot of shaking. Explains a lot about me right now.
A lot of lack of oxygen up there. Evidence of that.
Well, we're going to talk about two very famous landlines. There's a lot more than two, but I just say two in Korea, in both Koreas, or we could say one Korea when it was one Korea. And it's basically the hotline. I think there's no other really phone name for it, but the hotline.
Yeah.
This is essentially North Korea and South Korea, after the war, had established a landline. I'm sorry, this was like in the 1970s. Again, don't come here for facts. Just check it up on yourself. We'll put some articles in the links here, or in the description rather. So in the 1970s, they established a landline between North and South Korea for talks, quote unquote, and which makes sense. You know, sometimes
You got to coordinate.
Sometimes
with
the
your
phone's
neighbor.
is better, right? Like you just pick up the phone and you talk.
Yeah.
Which is another commentary I have about this text messaging thing in these days. I thought we were going to swing to like a video thing, and that but it's still, messaging and kind of anonymous. But there's something about talking to someone, hearing their voice.
Yeah.
Again, inflections and such. But this line was created. Actually, there are over 33 lines now. But there's like one main one, like it's called the red and green phone. So let's pull this up here, Jay. So we're looking at a picture. Again, listeners, you can follow along if you click on the links in the bottom. All of them have pictures of the phone. And Dan, describe what we're looking at here. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not your typical phone setup.
It looks like a wooden computer outline. It's a computer screen within a terminal, and on where the keyboard should be are these phone lines,
Like the handsets.
handsets.
Yeah, we got a green one and a red one. And then that is weird. There's a computer screen which is clearly running some form of Windows.
Yeah.
The hills in the background, which is funny. We're looking at two different pictures, but they clearly changed the background.
So someone was like, you know what? Let's change it up today.
Or they're updating the OS as they
okay.
should be, right?
Okay.
Because that looks like maybe XP, and that I don't know what that one is. Maybe they're both XP. Who knows? But it's an old system.
Yeah.
But they've got it looks like a VoIP dialer on the computer.
Yeah.
But there's no mouse.
No, those two middle ones.
Are those mice? I don't know what that is. They look like intercom.
I don't know.
Maybe those are phone pad. It looks like kind of mirrors like the phone pad thing.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, we're looking at this really antiquated, kind of Dan described, like a console. It looks like an old arcade. Look at that fax machine. They got a fax machine set up next to it just in case, which is part of it. So this is the red and green line.
Okay.
So what they've been doing since the 70s is every day at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., 2 calls are made. South Korea is always the boyfriend. They always call first. They call first and they say, and this is in the notes somewhere, but they basically say hey, we're calling for our daily check-in.
Right.
And they hang up. They leave a voice message or something.
Yeah.
And then North Korea calls back. It's a weird... I mean, that sounds very creative itself of how to deal with phones. And you call me first because I'm your older brother.
Yeah.
type of deal, and I'll call you back if I want to. But that's how it's been.
Yes.
So there's over 33 lines, 5 of which are used for daily communications.
And they use these lines to coordinate things.
Yes, it's
in
for
the
multiple
DMZ,
things.
The airspace.
Yes.
Just to let you know, hey, we're going to be doing this. We'll be pruning
Well,
this
multiple
tree.
multiple purpose. I don't think they called about that one. So it says 5 are daily communications, which I'm assuming is that, right? Like the DMZ activities. 21 for negotiations, whatever that
Right.
means.
Mm-hmm.
2 for handling air traffic, 2 for seaport or sea transport, and then 3 for economic cooperation. So 3 are like business talk. These are business lines. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. Like all these phone lines, and they're all active apparently. But here's the headline for today. Back in April, North Korea started ghosting South Korea, which is a trend. This is like the 8th time they've done it, and it always raises alarms. This is not like your girlfriend not picking up Dan because she didn't want to talk to you. This is like, what's going on over there?
She told you about that?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
It was me. Just kidding. It's like a big political thing when they don't pick up and they don't do the call back. Because now,
it's their
alarms
only
go off.
line of communication at times.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not opening emails. You can't even get an email over there.
Yeah.
Really. This is the only thing.
It's the only thing.
So when they don't pick up at 9 and 5, it's a thing. And back in April this year, 2023, for 5 days, it was like started on Good Friday, just stopped. North Korea stopped picking up and stopped calling back. And the unification minister of South Korea had said, quote, this is a unilateral and irresponsible move by the North.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the tea for today. It's like,
Ooh.
this is, yeah, right? You like my hip, young terminology that I use now?
Dugan Bodicha.
Yeah. But this happened. This happens often.
Yeah,
North Korea ghosts South Korea and doesn't pick up.
So, with this being the only means of communication, often with the North, between the North and South, I think the North sees it as a point of leverage as well, right?
Sure.
Because really, what does North Korea have to lose, right, with lack of communication? With South Korea, they are more affluent. They want the status quo a lot more than the North, right? So North Korea could then leverage this and say, well, I'm not talking to you unless I get what I want. And I believe this time it's about the joint military drills. Like
That's right.
the U.S., with the Biden administration, the U.S. and South Korea have restarted those drills. It freaks North Korea out.
Yeah. Actually, I think this case was because this is actually pretty funny. So for this one, it was because South Korea had sent a warning to North Korea saying, don't use our buses from the Kaesong project or the Kaesong industrial development project, which we can get into another episode. But basically, that's like a big cooperative economic venture they went into on the north side.
Yeah.
And the South apparently provided the buses. The South said, don't use our buses. We know you're using them. And then North said, we ain't going to pick up. Which is kind of funny. They're basically like, we got caught. We were using the buses, so
it's like,
I'm not going to call you back.
It's like mom gave you the keys to the car to get to school, but to get to the school only.
Yes.
While she's gone, right?
And then she found out by GPS
you're
driving.
joyriding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you don't call her back.
You don't call her back.
Because you know what's going to happen when you call her back. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to get
I've been
scolded.
checking the mileage.
You're going to get Ferris Buellered.
Yeah. Can't drive that backwards. Yeah. So, but this is all in the context of the restarting of the drills and just a more, with the new administration also in South Korea, the Yoon administration, it has taken a more adversarial, hardline stance on North Korea. And so, yes, it's about the buses, but it's in the overall context of more distance between the North and South.
Find what's interesting about this is that something as old-fashioned as a landline, a telephone, can mean so much when you don't pick up. and not to make light of it, it does mean a lot, but it just sounds so funny to me. It's like if we got a telegraph today and it was from Russia, and we just said, nope, I'm not going to telegraph back. And they got, everyone is kind of up in an uproar over there in Russia. Or it would probably be the opposite, we send them one and they don't send one back. It's like, such a weird, you know what I mean? It's like a weird dynamic. In the age we live in of communication and technology.
Where you don't have to answer everything.
How many things, how many unopened emails do you have in your inbox right now?
It's crazy.
Thousands, and this is like a phone call that was regularly scheduled, and only not even an important dude picked it up. It was some grunt of the other line whose job is to just sit all day and pick up this phone. And someone told him, "Don't pick up that phone today. We are not picking up."
I mean,
today.
sometimes they'll actually cut the line between the two countries.
But what does that mean? They just unplug the handset?
I mean, you could resolder it.
No, they're just unplugging that handset. Come on. They're doing the old, plug it out of the wall kind of deal.
No.
They don't want to redo that.
The phone is off the hook.
No, that's not true because they're not getting the busy signal. They're actually getting through because they're leaving the message still.
Oh, true.
They're not getting they're not getting the busy signal. If phone culture back then, y'all. Clearly, Jay doesn't.
Does that I wonder if that line has call waiting,
or if you can make collect calls on it.
Yeah. I wonder how that works.
Yeah, that would be fun. Again, I would love to use that phone. I love that line. So but again, back to my real point is the severity of that relationship is so much that this daily call, 2 times a day, is just and for good reason. South Korea was kind of on higher alert because of that.
Yeah.
Whenever that starts happening, usually other things follow.
Right.
Whether it be, aggressive movements or like more missile testing, things like that.
It's a proxy, right? It's like it's a proxy. It's a symbol of what's going on in the overall relationship.
Which is like, I'm sorry, it's just so childish to me. It reminds me of my teenage years of like, when I'm upset with my friend, I am picking up the call. Nor am I calling back. Nor am I answering the doorbell when he comes.
Or if you're like slightly annoyed with them, you wait for it to ring like 4 times instead of 1, right?
Or let it go to the answering machine and interrupt the answering machine. And you go like, I'm sorry, I was in the bathroom.
Depending on like the tone of the voice too. Like check the tone of how they're leaving the message. Like, hey man, I just wanted to, and then you'll pick up and say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, that's true. You can kind of hear where they're coming.
Right.
Before you pick
it up.
But
if they're coming in hot, like, hey man, why aren't you picking up? Then you're definitely not.
Yeah, that's a couple day wait right there until we reconnect.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess, there's that. But yeah.
But it's as petty as a phone call, right? Between North and South. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a phone call, but it's also nukes, right? It runs the full gamut of human existence, right?
Well, okay, so this to me is what makes it very Korean.
Okay,
like we're not the only countries that have this. Moscow and the United States have a hotline. Where there was another one, Beijing and DC have a hotline as well.
Yeah.
But only the Koreans can make the hot drama out of 2 phones. Like seriously, it's like, and then look at it. In June 2020. The North cut off the Inter-Korean hotline to protest Seoul's activist leaflet campaign.
Yeah, man.
It's like, South Korea's, they're doing it too. They're part of the drama. But only Koreans would make it 2 phones so dramatic. Be like, you sent leaflets over? I ain't pick it up, okay? For a month. They said they didn't pick it up for a month. And what's that conversation like when you pick it up after a month? You're like, someone picks up and is like, 여보세요? Oh, it's like you're like surprised.
It's you. Oh, sorry, I got busy. I was,
Do it in Korean, Dan. Do it in your Korean.
바빴어요. 그 잔디 깎아서 뭐
그래. It's just like Koreans are already super awkward on the phone. Now we
Yeah.
gotta do this conversation. Can you imagine being the guy that has to pick up on the North Korean side after a month? You're like, okay, pick it up. We're good.
all right,
Pick
today,
it up.
today.
Pick it up. Take it up. You're like, oh, what do I say?
It's been so long. I
It's
don't
been a
know. It's
month.
so awkward. Just pick it up, man.
That could be its own romantic comedy right there. The two people who have to call,
Yeah,
who are
they
just
fall in love.
pawns, they fall in love.
Yeah, they fall in love.
Oh my gosh.
Pawns of love.
Working title. Or no return call. No return to love. Return to love. Return call love. We're working on it. We're working on it.
We're
All right,
working
don't judge us
title.
yet.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah.
judging, Jay. He's judging over there. Come up with your own titles. No, I mean, it is ridiculous. Koreans are that's very Korean.
It's very Korean. Yeah.
We have these hotlines and we're going to use them. We're going to use them to
Every point
do
of leverage.
something. Yeah,
man.
everything we can get.
Every point of leverage. For sure.
So obviously this thing is like more than a phone. We jest and we joke, right? But we're like, this is more than a phone call we're talking about here. This is more about what's the meaning behind the meaning, right? This is a political
Yes.
game. This is like a symbol of like the status, I would say, of our peace and where our
yes.
relationship is.
It's like the canary in the coal mine, right? It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
first thing that comes and goes. Yeah.
Do you think, well, this only happened, it says in 8 times. So even when they're doing their aggressive testing or things like that, it sounds like they're still picking up the phone.
Yeah. Sure.
So this is an indicator of maybe similar to when we were talking about the Olympic Games and they came out under the unified flag.
Yes.
It's like a gesture of like, it's like a 27-part relational plan. When parts 1 and 2 are in place, we're good. We're still good in this area, right? And this is just one of the many parts along with the Olympic Games.
Yeah. It's like the relationship counselor has a lot of parts to parse out. you
Yeah.
know, when they go into counseling.
They're like, so North, I noticed you haven't been picking up the phone lately. Can you talk about that?
Well, it's because they told me not to use the bus. I really needed that bus.
They left it here. Anywho,
They left the keys.
we shouldn't be in charge of the relational counseling for this, when that mediation happens.
Yes,
but I would
yes.
like to be there.
But I mean, yeah, I like we've seen contentious relationship situations in our lifetimes, and that's what it becomes, right? Like every little thing becomes a point of leverage or an issue, and it's the same between these two estranged countries.
Do you think they'll ever leave? I mean, clearly they've upgraded that phone. Jay, go back to that photo. So if you look at the photos, there's actually scroll down to like 3 more photos. That was the first version or an older version. So there's like a pictures. We'll put it up from this electrospaces.net. And there's photos of like one of the original ones, which looks way more like a military grade kind of terminal.
Yeah.
And it had like a yellow and a neon green phone. But then if you go back to the modern one, there's a picture with both of them side by side. Because I think they're all in the same room on the South Korea side. They're there.
Oh, wow.
There's like tassels on the old one.
That's on the other one.
It's they were very concerned about the aesthetic. There's a fax machine in there, but then like the quote unquote modern one, though it does have like a screen on it. I mean, we're talking about late 90s at best, early
Yeah.
2000s at best. So it's due for an upgrade.
It's the net zero era.
AOL, that's true. That's true. That looks like it.
Technology, yeah.
But okay, where are we going next? Are we going video? Or do you think we're going to have some kind of like chat messaging service? I mean, I feel like if we go chat, to my point before, it's a downgrade. You lose the personal touch. The love romance is not going to happen.
Yeah, well, they go
I guess
Zoom.
younger people have long, romances through text.
I guess so. Yeah, I wonder if Zoom is going to come into play here.
Yeah, like video.
If they could read facial expressions, that might be beneficial.
Or that could hurt. That could hurt, right? Sometimes the phone was nice that You can read. I could say one thing, my
Right,
face
right.
is another thing.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to get some actors behind those phones, and like we're gonna have to just do casting calls for the soldiers. Who looks the prettiest and most like, just amicable to look at, and then who can act and put on a good face.
Or in times of tension,
Yeah.
who looks the meanest?
Exactly. You swap out the user.
The user.
It's like emojis. You bring in Jay for when you want to like strong arm them, and you're
Or
like, "Yo,
you
here I come."
find the Glenn Close of soldiers who can do the whole gamut of emotions.
You went to Glenn Close.
The Glenn Close of South Korean soldiers.
No, I'm putting Tom Cruise for all of it. Tom Cruise. You got Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise, and you got Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. That's very different. Two very different Tom Cruise. Then you got Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise.
Oh, is it really so different, Tom Cruise? I don't know.
But who doesn't love Tom Cruise? You know what? That might just end the war here if we just put Tom Cruise on a video call with the North. Tom Cruise, you listening? Please consider.
Please, Tommy.
Yes. But what do you think? We're going text? We're going video? What's the route we heading?
I think they should go video. It's more. It's warmer.
It's true. It's a personal.
But have the option of not doing video in times of conflict. That would be like the.
Have the screen frozen, the camera frozen every so often. Yeah, my camera's frozen. Let's just go audio.
Let's just go audio this time. Yeah.
That would be a huge leap.
It would
if we upgrade to a video conversation.
Yeah. I'm assuming it has to all be wired because of security and stuff. So, but we can do that wired.
It is a landline, right?
Yeah.
But if they have to run a new line, they can run like a coax over there.
Yeah,
Throw it over the fence. or what we do is just set up a really nice one on the South Korean side, and then they can steal it. Steal that cable.
Yeah.
And then be like, "Oh, you have internet all of a sudden? Really high speed internet? Where'd you get that from?" It's okay as long as your video quality is good.
You can use our internet. That's cool.
We'll leave a couple nice like high-end video cameras up there for them to take and be like, "Let's set this up."
South Korean internet, legendarily fast.
Is it?
It's crazy fast.
They're in the giga, the tetra. I don't know what's past giga. Jay, what's the next speed up? What are we looking at here?
Terra.
Terra. Yeah.
I mean, it's
You
been
said
rumored.
Tetra, but yeah.
Yeah, I was close. I was close. Well, you know what, though? For now, we have this, like you said, net zero style calling. I think that's a start. And I don't know, actually. I couldn't find whether the phones are open right now. I think they are. That was back in April, like I said. And it was only for 5 days. So, yes, they're open now. So the calls are happening.
The line is back open.
What we wouldn't give to hear that conversation. I mean, there are 33 lines. I don't know all 33 are doing calls every day, but I mean,
there's a lot to coordinate. So I think they are going on every day. That would be my guess.
Yeah. What a job to be that person, to be on the phone.
That would be cool.
That would be like you get to talk to North Koreans every day. And,
yeah.
I mean, I think that'd be nice. I'm sure there's some. I'm telling you, there's a rom-com here or a romantic or a dramedy here happening here. Yeah. For sure. Write it up. The mission of Crossing Borders is to show the compassion of Christ to North Korean refugees and their children. This mission depends on the generosity of people like you. If you'd like to make a real impact in the lives of North Korean refugees, please consider donating. It's super easy. Just go to our website at crossingbordersnk.org and click on the donate button in the upper right.